The void between stars trembled at the approach of Sarkin hunting vessels. These massive predators, evolved from reptilian stalkers, had perfected the art of interstellar hunting over thousands of years. Supreme Hunter Kuvere stood on the command deck, his scaled skin bearing the ceremonial scars of 100 successful hunts. The trophy hall stretched behind him, a macabre museum of the finest warriors from 1,000 worlds. No species had ever presented a true challenge. The hunt had become routine, predictable, almost boring. Kuvere flicked his barbed tongue against razor teeth as he reviewed the latest reports. 3 more species had fallen in the outer rim, their champions now preserved in the ceremonial stasis fields that lined the mothership's central corridor. None had provided sport worthy of personal attention. The Supreme Hunter craved something new, something that would rekindle the primal thrill that had driven Sarkin evolution. "Supreme One," hissed Sub-Commander Vex, approaching with appropriate deference, head lowered to expose the vulnerable neck ridge. The scouting vessels report unusual readings from Sector 847. Kuvere's interest stirred mildly. Define unusual. Energy signatures unlike standard development patterns. Most civilizations progress through predictable technological phases. These readings show remarkable technological diversity. Primitive combustion engines alongside sophisticated particle physics. The Supreme Hunter's pupils narrowed to vertical slits. The display projected a small spiral galaxy, unremarkable except for a single yellow star near one spiral arm. Around a small blue planet, Sarkin sensors detected thousands of satellites, primitive spacecraft, and energy signatures that indicated a species in technological adolescence. Primitive, yet they've reached their nearby orbital bodies, Kuvere observed, examining magnified images of rudimentary human outposts on their moon and neighboring red planet. Their physical form. Vex displayed biological scans. Bipedal mammals. Physically unimpressive. No natural armor, minimal strength compared to Sarkin warriors. Dull teeth, no claws. Yet they dominate their biosphere. Curious. Kuvere studied the human form with growing interest. A species with no natural weapons that somehow became apex predators. They appear to create elaborate artificial environments, Vex continued. They modify their surroundings rather than adapting to them. Most peculiar. For the first time in decades, Kuvere felt genuine excitement stir within him. Species that defied categorization were rare. Species that surprised the Sarkin were almost unheard of. "Prepare the hunting vessels," he commanded. "Full ceremonial protocol. I want our finest hunters led by Commander Tarax. Is this primitive species worthy of our elite warriors?" Vex questioned cautiously. Kuvere gestured toward the trophy hall with a clawed hand. 10,000 years of perfect victories breeds complacency, Sub-Commander. Something about these humans suggests they might provide entertainment. The Supreme Hunter activated the ship-wide communications, his voice echoing through the massive vessel. "Warriors of Tarkin, prepare for the hunt. We have found new prey." Little did he know that the small blue planet they approached would shatter everything that Sarkin believed about their place in the galactic hierarchy. Commander Tarax positioned his cloaked scout ships behind Mars, studying the transmissions from Earth with growing fascination. The red planet provided perfect cover for observation, its dusty surface concealing 3 Sarkin vessels beneath advanced cloaking fields. Tarax watched the human broadcasts with reptilian patience. Decades of hunting had taught him to study prey thoroughly before striking. These humans fought their own kind with remarkable ingenuity, created art that served no survival purpose, and seemed driven by contradictory impulses. Most puzzling, Tarax noted in his observation log, they appeared to value the survival of weaker members, an evolutionary strategy completely foreign to Sarkin thinking. His second-in-command, Hunter Krill, seemed less impressed. They kill each other over arbitrary territorial boundaries. Classic primitive behavior, yet they simultaneously cooperate across those same boundaries. Tarax countered, displaying images of international space missions. They compete and collaborate in equal measure. No species we've encountered behaves with such duality. The Xarkan hunting party monitored the small research outpost the humans had established on Mars. Only 12 personnel staffed the facility, focused on geological research and atmospheric experiments, a perfect isolated target for assessment. Supreme Hunter Kivar expects preliminary results. Krell reminded him. These humans seem unremarkable. Limited physical capabilities, fragile environmental requirements. Tirax was about to respond when the sensor array blinked. The human outpost had detected unusual radiation near their perimeter. Radiation from the Tarkan cloaking field. They've noticed the decay signature from our cloaking technology. Tirax observed with surprise. Primitive sensors shouldn't detect that frequency range. The hunters expected the humans to abandon the position immediately, the rational response to potential danger on an inhospitable planet. Instead, the outpost sent additional personnel to investigate. A small rover emerged from the facility, heading directly toward the Xarkan observation point. The perfect opportunity for a test hunt, Tirax decided, mandibles clicking with anticipation. Prepare 6 warriors, standard containment protocol. The hunting party descended on the outpost with practiced precision, cutting through the airlock with molecular disruptors. Tirax led personally, his armor recording every detail for the trophy archives. The 6 security officers inside should have fallen within minutes. Instead, they responded with surprising coordination. 2 officers sealed interior doors, creating defensive choke points. Another pair repurposed scientific equipment into makeshift weapons, overloading power cells to create crude explosives. Most surprising, they prioritized protecting the scientists over their own escape. They're adapting our hunting formations, Krell hissed with disbelief as humans used the facility's layout to separate the hunting party. A thunderous explosion rocked the corridor. Youngest hunter Zirak had triggered some kind of trap. Pressure plates connected to oxygen tanks. The resulting blast tore through his ceremonial armor, leaving the young hunter writhing on the floor. Tirax stared at his fallen warrior in disbelief. The Xarkan rarely suffered casualties against pre-spacefaring species, as he ordered retreat with their wounded. Tirax felt something unfamiliar creeping into his consciousness. Tout. Send full data to Supreme Hunter Kivar, he commanded, watching the outpost through narrowed eyes. These humans, they don't behave like prey. The Alaskan military base vanished under artillery fire as Tirax implemented standard siege protocols. Orbital strikes obliterated communication arrays first, then defensive emplacements. The humans had reinforced the facility after the Mars incident, but their preparations proved inadequate against Xarkan weaponry. Dropships deployed 20 elite hunters to collect specimens and eliminate resistance. Snow swirled around their landing craft, the harsh environment meaningless to warriors evolved on far more brutal worlds. Remember, Tirax instructed his hunters, we need live specimens. Supreme Hunter Kivar demands subjects for study. Inside the command bunker, Dr. Eliza Chen worked furiously, analyzing fragments of Xarkan technology recovered from Mars. At 34, she had become Earth's foremost expert on the alien threat, having decoded partial communications from the Mars attack. Their molecular structure suggests reptilian evolution, she explained to General Hayes over the secure channel. But their neural patterns are unlike anything we've seen, almost hive-like, yet individually conscious. The thunderous impacts of orbital strikes cut their conversation short. The attack came faster than expected. Upload everything to the secure server, Chen ordered her team, fingers flying across the keyboard. They're not here to conquer. They're collecting. When hunters breached the laboratory door with plasma cutters, Chen had just enough time to complete the upload before being dragged away. She noted with scientific detachment that the hunters ignored the computers, instead scanning humans for physical traits. This one has neural implants, the lead hunter hissed, detecting Chen's experimental neural interface. Valuable specimen. Across the planet, intelligence agencies scrambled to make sense of the attacks, In an underground facility beneath the Pentagon, General Marcus Hayes studied footage from both incidents. A career military man with salt and pepper hair and weathered features, Hayes had specialized in asymmetric warfare against technologically superior opponents. "They're not fighting a war," he told the assembled military leaders, tapping the screen where Sarkin hunters collected bodies. "They're hunting trophies." The evidence was undeniable. The aliens bypassed strategic targets, ignored infrastructure, and focused exclusively on capturing human specimens, particularly those who demonstrated unusual skills or adaptations. "If they're hunters, then we need to understand their hunting patterns," Hayes continued. "Every predator has weaknesses. Every hunting style has blind spots." The Joint Chiefs exchanged concerned glances. "What exactly are you proposing, General?" Hayes pulled up satellite imagery showing Sarkin landing patterns. "These aliens hunt like apex predators, confident, methodical, and utterly predictable. They expect prey to flee or fight directly." His weathered face broke into a grim smile. "But humans have been hunting creatures bigger and stronger than ourselves since we invented the spear. We've been both predator and prey throughout our evolution." As nations worldwide shared intelligence through secure channels, Hayes recognized humanity's one advantage. The Axarkans' perfect hunting record had made them inflexible. They had never needed to adapt. "Assemble specialized teams," Hayes ordered. "Find me people who understand hunting from both sides. Trackers, game wardens, indigenous hunters, guerrilla warfare specialists." His eyes hardened as he looked at the display showing Dr. Chen's capture. "It's time to teach these aliens what happens when they hunt humans." HFY circled the human female strapped to the examination table. The captive, Dr. Chen, displayed none of the expected fear responses. Instead, she studied him with obvious scientific interest, her eyes tracking his movements with analytical precision. The Supreme Hunter had boarded Trax's vessel immediately upon receiving the disturbing reports from Earth. Now, facing this puzzling specimen himself, Kuvar understood his commander's concern. "Your species continues to confound us," Kuvar admitted, running a clawed finger along the edge of the examination table. "We have hunted 1,000 worlds. None behave as yours does." When the translator device finally calibrated to English, her first words stunned him. "Your respiratory system suggests an evolution in low-oxygen environments." Fascinating adaptation. Kuvar stepped back, mandibles clicking in surprise. She was analyzing him, as if she were the hunter and he the specimen. The reversal disoriented him momentarily. "You study me while restrained for dissection," Kuvar observed. "Unusual behavior for prey." Chen smiled slightly. "That's where your species fundamentally misunderstands humans. We've never been solely predator or prey. We've been both." Kuvar gestured for the medical officer to continue scanning the human. "Elaborate." "Humans evolved as persistence hunters," Chen explained, seemingly unconcerned by the probes scanning her nervous system. "We lack natural weapons, so we developed intelligence instead. We've been hunting animals stronger and faster than ourselves since we had stone tools." She fixed her gaze directly on Kuvar, a challenge posture no prey species had ever dared. "We don't need to be the strongest. We just need to understand how predators think. That's been our evolutionary advantage for millions of years." Kuvar turned to review the battle reports displayed on the chamber wall. The latest Tarkin casualties defied standard combat algorithms. Humans employed deception, misdirection, and cooperation in ways that made no evolutionary sense to the hierarchical Sarkin. "Your scientists dissect our tactics," Kuvar noted, "while our warriors dissect your kind. Yet the knowledge exchange seems disproportionately in your favor." Chen's expression remained calm. "Another human trait, we learn faster under pressure. It's how we survived ice ages, plagues, and our own destructive tendencies." The ship's neural network alerted Kuvar to another failed hunt. A team of 7 elite warriors had been ambushed in the dense jungles of what humans called Vietnam. The locals, technologically primitive by even human standards, had neutralized Tarkin advantages through intimate knowledge of terrain. "Your species lacks unity," Kivar said, displaying images of human conflicts. "You fight amongst yourselves constantly." "Yet we unite against external threats," Chen countered. "Diversity is our strength, not our weakness. Different perspectives solve problems that uniform thinking cannot." The Supreme Hunter faced an uncomfortable realization. After millennia of perfect victories, that Tarkin had forgotten what it meant to adapt. Their hunting techniques had remained unchanged for generations, while humans, he now understood, had never stopped evolving. "You believe you can defeat the greatest hunters the galaxy has ever known?" Kivar asked, genuine curiosity in his tone. Chen's response was simple and all the more disturbing for its conviction. "We already are." The Siberian wilderness offered perfect hunting terrain, or so that Tarkin believed. Sub-Commander Vex led his hunting party through thick pine forests, tracking heat signatures in the bitter cold. Snow crunched beneath their armored feet as they moved with predatory grace. "Spread formation," Vex ordered, his 12 hunters fanning out in a precise pattern honed across centuries of successful hunts. "The human military base lies beyond the northern ridge." Standard approach. The landing party disembarked confidently. Weapons charge, neural implants sensed shared targeting systems. Their exoskeletons compensated automatically for the sub-zero temperatures. Sarkin hunters had conquered environments far more hostile than this. 6 hours later, their confidence had evaporated like breath in the Siberian air. 3 more warriors lost. Vex reported to the orbiting command ship, mandibles tight with tension. Pressure-triggered avalanche. No human heat signatures detected. His report didn't mention the growing unease among his hunters. The humans weren't fighting. They were nowhere to be seen. Yet somehow the Tarkin were losing warriors to the environment itself. Vex studied the snow carefully, noting disturbed patterns. "They've been here recently." Hunter Krell, promoted after Tarax's reassignment, indicated subtle depressions in the snow. "Primitive snowshoes. They're distributing their weight to avoid triggering our seismic sensors." A faint whistling sound preceded the nearly invisible wire that sliced through the air. 2 hunters fell, their armor severed at precisely the joint seams. The remaining Sarkin dove for cover, but found no targets for their return fire. "They're turning the environment against us," Krell hissed. "Using our weight, our patterns." His observation ended abruptly as the ground beneath him collapsed, plunging the hunter into a concealed pit lined with sharpened stakes. Back at Strategic Command, General Hayes watched the operation unfold through satellite imagery. The specialized team he'd assembled for this mission included indigenous Siberian hunters, wilderness survival experts, and special forces operatives with Arctic training. Humans hunted woolly mammoths with nothing but coordination and pointed sticks, he reminded his officers. "We've been downing bigger prey since the Ice Age." The monitors showed Sarkin heat signatures retreating toward their landing craft, their methodical hunting formation abandoned. From a command bunker near the operation, Lieutenant Sofia Ivanova directed the next phase. "They're falling back to the extraction point," she reported. "Just as predicted. Trigger Phase 3. Meanwhile, aboard the mothership, Dr. Chen had made a breakthrough. Using her knowledge of neural interfaces, she had fashioned a crude communication device from medical monitoring equipment left in her cell. The guards never considered that their captive might understand electronics. Hunting species rarely developed such skills before mastering physical combat. Her fingers worked delicately on the circuitry, while the guards remained focused on her vital signs. Chen smiled slightly. The Tarkin understood predation, but not deception. They'd monitored her body for escape attempts, never considering her mind as the true threat. Her first transmission contained complete schematics of Sarkin neural implants, with one critical vulnerability highlighted. Without leadership direction, individual hunters relied entirely on pre-programmed responses. Their networked hunting strategy, once interrupted, left them dangerously predictable. The perfect predator, Chen whispered to herself, has forgotten how to survive alone. Captain Maya Rivera had never expected to pilot an alien shuttle. The captured craft sped toward the Tarkin mothership, transmitting valid approach codes extracted from the neural implants of captured hunters. The vessel vibrated slightly as it entered the massive ship's docking field. "Comms check," Rivera whispered into her tactical headset, voice steady despite the tension coursing through her body. Her 12-person team acknowledged in sequence, each soldier carrying weapons specifically designed to exploit Sarkin's sensory weaknesses. Lieutenant Dawson, their tech specialist, monitored the holographic display. "Docking protocols accepted. They think we're returning hunters." Rivera nodded, dark eyes focused on the approaching bay doors. The raid represented humanity's first offensive action against the Sarkin. General Hayes had selected her team specifically for this mission: soldiers with hunting backgrounds, technical specialists, and adaptive thinkers. "Remember," Rivera reminded her team, "our objective is Dr. Chen and the navigation data. This isn't about body count. We're hunters, not warriors." The shuttle settled onto the docking platform with a metallic thud. Rivera activated the Sarkin armor they'd stripped from fallen hunters, the exoskeleton conforming uncomfortably to her human frame. The breathing apparatus tasted like copper and something alien. "Helmets on. Move like you own the place." The infiltration proceeded smoothly for the first 30 minutes. Their disguises, combined with the codes transmitted from their captured shuttle, allowed them to penetrate deep into the vessel. Rivera led them through corridors mapped from Dr. Chen's transmitted intelligence. An alert sounded 3 decks from their objective. A sweep team of Tarkin security hunters detected the subtle differences in their movement patterns. Rivera made a split-second decision, dividing her team. "Dawson, take 7 and continue to the primary objective. Chen and the navigation data are all that matter." "Captain," Dawson began to protest. "That's an order." Rivera selected 4 soldiers, leading them deliberately toward the ship's trophy hall. "We'll create a diversion they can't ignore." The trophy hall represented the Sarkin's ceremonial center, a vast chamber housing preserved specimens from 1,000 conquered worlds. Rivera's team planted timed explosives while triggering every alarm they could find. Their diversion worked, at the cost of Rivera's freedom. Surrounded by Sarkin warriors, her team fighting desperately against overwhelming odds, Rivera activated the last of her explosives before being subdued. Brought before Commander Tarax, she smiled despite her injuries, blood trickling from her lip. "You still don't understand what humans are, do you?" she asked, noticing the confusion in the commander's reptilian eyes. In the trophy hall, Dawson's team completed their mission, planting charges while downloading the mothership's navigation data. They located Dr. Chen's cell, dispatching her guards with targeted sonic weapons that exploited Sarkin auditory sensitivity. "Captain Rivera," Chen asked, as they freed her. "Creating a diversion," Dawson replied grimly. "We need to move." When Tarax realized the deception, that the trophy hall attack was merely a distraction, he executed Rivera personally, mandibles clicking in rage. But it was too late. The explosions rocked the ship as the human strike team escaped with Dr. Chen and the location of the Sarkin homeworld. Tarax watched his prize collection burn, feeling something no hunter should ever experience: the sting of being outsmarted by prey. Among the wreckage, he found Rivera's tactical recorder still functioning. Her final message played in an endless loop: "Remember the rules of the hunt, lizard. The most dangerous prey is the one that learns to hunt you back." Supreme Hunter Kavar launched the final assault with the full might of the hunting fleet. Thousands of Tarkin warriors prepared for glorious combat as they entered Earth's atmosphere. Holographic displays showed the assembled armada, 300 vessels arranged in the ceremonial hunting formation that had brought doom to countless civilizations. "The time for observation has ended," Kavar announced to his assembled commanders. "This species has proven worthy of our full attention. We will take their best warriors and preserve their strength in our halls." Commander Tarax, demoted but still valuable for his experience with humans, approached cautiously. Supreme Hunter, these humans have demonstrated unconventional responses. Perhaps we should. We are Xarkan. Kivar interrupted, eyes narrowing to dangerous slits. We have hunted since the stars were young. No prey escapes the final hunt. The fleet descended through Earth's atmosphere in perfect formation, weapons charged to devastating capacity. Scanners sought human population centers, finding them suspiciously empty. Major cities showed minimal heat signatures where billions should have registered. They've evacuated their population centers, Tarax noted with concern. This is unprecedented. Kivar dismissed the observation. Prey often abandons nesting sites when threatened. Standard behavior. When sensors detected a concentration of humans in the Amazon basin, the fleet converged according to textbook encirclement tactics. Deployment vessels disgorged hunting parties into the dense jungle, warriors advancing in practiced formations. They found only holographic projections, sophisticated decoys broadcasting false heat signatures. Before the hunters could report the deception, networked satellites activated in precisely coordinated sequence. The orbital grid broadcast carefully calibrated frequencies targeted specifically at Xarkan neural implants. Warriors collapsed in agony as the systems designed to enhance their hunting abilities betrayed them, overloaded by signals that exploited weaknesses identified in Dr. Chen's intelligence. The pain-inducing frequencies followed mathematical patterns no Xarkan scientist had anticipated, derived from human music theory rather than conventional weapons research. Disabled neural networks. Kivar commanded, experiencing the debilitating feedback himself. Switch to autonomous systems. The Supreme Hunter ordered a retreat, but coordinated missile strikes from hidden bunkers separated his command ship from the fleet. Targeting algorithms, developed from the navigation data Captain Rivera's team had stolen, locked onto the specific energy signature of the Supreme Command vessel. Kivar watched in disbelief as his supposedly impenetrable shields failed under the verage. The attacks exploited a resonance pattern that Xarkan engineers had deemed mathematically impossible. His vessel plummeted toward the Pacific Ocean, control systems failing sequentially. As his ship crashed into the waters off the Hawaiian Islands, Kivar emerged from the wreckage, ancestral survival instincts taking over. He had expected to face human warriors in glorious combat. Instead, he found himself surrounded not by soldiers, but by scientists led by the newly rescued Dr. Chen. She approached without weapons, a data tablet in hand. "We could kill you," she informed him calmly, "but we've evolved beyond needing trophies." For the first time in recorded history, a Supreme Hunter became a captive. Kivar stared at the human female who had orchestrated his defeat, understanding finally dawning. "You hunted me," he said, mandibles clicking in disbelief. "No," Chen corrected. "We studied you. There's a difference that your species never understood." The diplomatic chamber fell silent as Kivar faced the human delegation. 3 weeks had passed since his capture. 3 weeks of observations, conversations, and uncomfortable revelations. The Supreme Hunter stood unrestrained, his ceremonial armor replaced with a simple garment that bore no hunting marks or status symbols. General Hayes studied the alien leader carefully. The decision to treat Kivar as a diplomatic guest rather than a prisoner had been controversial, yet Dr. Chen's recommendation had proven correct. The Xarkan responded to respect, not subjugation. "In 10,000 years of hunting," Kivar began, his translated voice filling the chamber, "we never encountered a species that turned the hunt back upon us. You had opportunities to eliminate our forces, yet you chose selective targets, minimal casualties." Hayes nodded. "Extermination was never our goal. Defense was." The chamber itself represented a strategic choice. The United Nations headquarters in New York, restored after the Xarkan attacks. Behind the human delegation, floor-to-ceiling windows revealed the city rebuilding, a testament to human resilience. "Your weapons could have destroyed our fleet," Kivar observed. "Your tactics revealed our vulnerabilities without exploiting them fully." Dr. Chen stepped forward, data tablet in hand. We study your species extensively. Sarkin society focuses exclusively on predation, which creates evolutionary blind spots. You excel at killing but lack understanding of cooperation beyond hunting packs. Kivar's mandibles clicked. A gesture humans now recognized as thoughtful contemplation. You hunted without trophies. This concept remains difficult. Predators reach evolutionary dead ends, Chen explained gently. It's why humans advanced beyond Earth's other apex species. We learned to value different strengths. Cooperation, innovation, diversity of thought. These became more valuable than physical dominance. General Hayes presented the formal treaty, its terms displayed in both human language and Harkin script. Earth would remain off-limits to hunting, classified as a protected civilization. In exchange, humans would share their unique perspective on technological development unrelated to predation. Your species has stagnated in medical science, sustainable energy, and environmental adaptation, Chen noted. Focusing solely on hunting technology limited your evolution. Kivar struggled visibly with concepts foreign to Sarkin thinking, yet undeniably effective. His defeat had shaken millennia of certainty about his species' superiority. Our youngest hunters speak of your methods with fascination, he admitted reluctantly. They question traditions we have maintained since our earliest days. This disturbs the Elder Council. Hayes smiled slightly. Change always does. As Kivar's ship departed with the treaty signed, young Sarkin warriors watched the recorded proceedings with unprecedented interest. For the first time, discussion groups formed outside formal hunting structures, questioning whether predation alone should define their civilization. Earth celebrated not just survival, but the introduction of something revolutionary to the stars. The idea that intelligence could transcend the predator-prey relationship that had defined galactic civilization for millennia. In her laboratory, Dr. Chen began compiling a comprehensive xenobiology text titled Beyond Predation: Evolutionary Alternatives. Her dedication page contained a simple message. For Captain Rivera, who understood that the best victory isn't defeating your enemy, but transforming them.